we can go right ahead and talk about Duke and the potential of joining the SEC. So I'm looking at an article that was written by Tate, who is the host of the Tate Cast on the GSMC Sports Network. So go ahead and tune into his shows that start early at 7 o'clock Eastern time in the morning. So again, it's really early, but I mean it's well worth it. So he wrote this article about a proposal how the SEC is advocating for Duke basketball to join the conference, while specifically basketball, while the rest of Duke sports teams can join another conference, which is very interesting how they would again submit this kind of proposal for Duke basketball to join a specific conference. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and look at this the rest of this article, but I feel like it's really odd to see just one sport in one conference while the rest of the other ones are in a completely different conference. It seems a little bit confusing. And how is it's going to be really difficult to keep up. It's really confusing. Now, within the SEC, there is a growing advocacy of Duke's illustrious basketball program to become part of their conference. The proposal suggests that only the basketball team would make this move, while the rest of Duke's athletic programs would join another conference, and the idea is generating significant buzz and speculation about the future of college sports alignments. So, Duke basketball is one of the most popular and storied programs in NCAA basketball history. Under Coach K, the Blue Devils have gotten 5 national championships and numerous conference titles. It's known for its rivalries with North Carolina and its very consistent presence in the NCAA tournament. Duke basketball is it's basically one of the more popular colleges for its basketball, and it's a powerhouse that commands respect and attention. So with the SEC is already it is a tough conference in college sports, particularly with more so in football than it is in basketball. However, adding Duke basketball, it would bolster its basketball credentials. So it's it'll represent the SEC, which I guess is sort of why they would want the just basketball to be in that in the SEC's division, just so it could have we have football teams, a bunch of football teams, but we also have Duke as an SEC team, so SEC fans can watch some good basketball for once. But I mean, that's kind of odd how it's specifically just the basketball team. It seems like they're just using them for basketball, and I mean it makes sense, but it's why make it so obvious? Now, the SEC, while it's strong in many sports, it has historically lagged behind the Big Ten and ACC in terms of basketball prestige. Now, the inclusion of Duke, it would sort of elevate SEC status in college basketball. It'll attract more media attention, it'll get higher television ratings, and it'll potentially have a lot more sports dealerships and sponsorships to I said dealerships, excuse me. It'll have more sports deals and sponsorships available for the SEC and its ads and things like that. Now, the benefits for Duke, if they were to join the SEC, the basketball, it would be able to provide them several advantages, at least according to this article. Now, the SEC would have substantial media rights, deals, and financial stability would ensure that Duke basketball continues to thrive economically. Moreover, the high level of competition within the SEC could further enhance Duke's recruiting appeal and the overall quality of its basketball program. Now, there are challenges and there are some concerns about Duke's basketball team joining the SEC. Now, this proposal is not without its splitting Duke's athletic programs between two conferences could create logistical headaches and complicate scheduling, travel arrangements, and the rest of Duke's sports teams would have to adjust to a new conference, which could disrupt establishing routines, rivalries, because imagine dealing with imagine every other sport is in one specific conference, and then you have the SEC, you're going to have two different, like, you're not even going to play against the same teams every single time. So rival games are going to be really, really confusing, like, considering, again, how there's, like, you're going to be in two conferences, and it's going to, most of the time, the rivalry games and, like, the popular ones, like the popular rivals, are going to be the rivals that every other sport plays, because that's the ones where a lot of students are going to go to. And especially with football, like, I mean, they would, but it's like, it's going to be really difficult. So the cultural fit between Duke is also going to be affected. It's known for its academic rigor and traditional ACC rivalries, and the SEC, with its distinct regional flavor and focus on football, might pose integration challenges. And the identity and branding of Duke basketball is deeply intertwined with the ACC, and moving to the SEC could alter the dynamic in several unpredictable ways, is at least according to this article. So the border impact in college sports. Now, if Duke basketball were to join the SEC, it could trigger like several realignments across college sports. Now, there are other conferences that might seek to like improve their ranks in a lot of these other larger programs, and that would eventually, like, it would be similar to like if one team is going to get better, then the rest of the other programs are going to try to follow suit. And this potential like attention to sport is going to like shift priorities in college sports, and financial incentives and media rights increasingly drive decisions. So for the voices of the SEC, now it advocates within the SEC, they argue that Duke's addition would benefit the conference as a whole, not just in basketball, but like the overall brand and prestige of SEC athletics. But they're only looking at it, it seems like the SEC is only looking at it from their perspective and how it would benefit them. And it might not necessarily benefit a lot of the people in these working at these schools, like, you know, the people that make these schedules, the teams themselves, the students, and as well as the I mean, that's mainly like the people that get affected by this. They're tiny problems, but at the same time it's like make it it's a little bit weird. It's going to be very odd seeing Duke basketball in a completely different conference and playing against completely different teams, because, like, again, a lot of these rivalries, they've already been established and they've been like this for the longest time in basketball. And now it's like, now we're never going to see these kinds of games in the NCAA anymore, like, most of the time. Like, again, like, these could happen if they meet in the NCAA tournament and they meet in whichever kind of round. I mean, that would be really fun if that were to happen, but at the same time, it would just be, we won't be able to see these matchups as consistently as we would previous years. Now, if we're now looking ahead of this, as discussions continue, it's clear that the potential for Duke basketball to join the SEC is more than just a bold idea. It's a reflection of the dynamic and the rapidly evolving nature of college athletics. Both the SEC and Duke will need to carefully weigh the benefits and challenges of such a move, considering not only the financial and competitive aspect, but also the cultural and logistical implications of this. So basically, like, think about the rivalries, think about the students, think about all those other things that make a sport fun to watch and great. So that's basically like the summary of the article. Let me know what you guys think of whether or not you'd agree with Duke basketball's program moving to the SEC and completely getting new rivals, getting new teams to play, getting new schedules, and literally this offer just being offered to basketball. So let me know what you guys think of this in the comments. So now we will go ahead and go into the third segment, which is going to talk about Bronny James and the Phoenix Suns and the possibility that the Suns are going to use their pick to draft Bronny. And I'm just going to give my opinions on that, considering how they held a workout. So stay tuned for that after this short break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.